did the ban list completely fail? Well, that depends on who you ask. So, did this ban list achieve its goal of weakening the meta? Yes, it did weaken it, but did it weaken it enough where other deck lists are now being played? I mean, Speedroid is kind of a good... That was already meta. Yeah, it didn't really change a whole lot. What about the other goal of the ban list? Making sure Orcust remains inside of Orcust and not being played in a bunch of other variants. Well, kind of. It removed it from some of the for fun rogue decks, but did it remove it from the more important deck lists? No, they're still playing it. But hey, at least the deck lists are weaker, just not that much weaker, as I'm about to show you. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before we get into the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see more content just like this in the future, especially if you're a returning viewer, so apparently about 35% of you watching this or even subscribed to the channel, means 65% of you haven't even clicked that button yet. So if you guys are enjoying this kind of content and want to see more videos just like this in the future, especially more post-ban list content as I have a whole bunch of videos planned around it, including a Trickstar video coming out tomorrow with a brand new post-ban list skill. So if you want to see that, remember to leave a like on this video and consider subscribing to the channel down below. Alright, let's get into this deck list. So what exactly is new in post-ban list Orcust? Well basically, first and foremost, we've removed all Limit 3 trap cards, as there's no way of playing any of those trap cards over playing Scrap Recycler. Since this card is about to become Limit 3 as well, it means all those trap cards are effectively gone from the deck list. This card is still going to be the best way to play Orcust, especially with no Mermaid now, since Mermaid has also been removed, of course, because it's going to be banned. So because we have no Mermaid, getting 2 monsters on field and going for full Orcust combo doesn't really work with any other card in a 1-card combo sort of sense, except for Scrap Recycler now, so you have to run this card, and that means Limit 3s are gone from the deck. The other new addition is going to be your Machina Fortress, or Machina Fortress. I still don't know how to pronounce this. I think it's Machina. Feel free to correct me in the comments, otherwise I'm going to get roasted all video. Alright, this card is really good in this particular deck list because its summoning condition is basically discard machine type monsters whose total levels equal 8 or more from your hand. Then special summon this card from the hand or graveyard, which is crazy in a deck list where everything is machine and you want it all to be in the graveyard. It basically makes this card a sort of 1-card starter, as if you have any other Orcust card in hand, you summon this thing to the field, or you discard it, discard another Orcust, summon it to the field, and all of a sudden you can have the Orcust engraved, whether it be something like a horror or be a copy of your Knightmare, to then send other Orcusts to the grave or summon more to the field, and you'll have 2 monsters to go into your full Orcust combo as per usual. So it has that sort of bonus effect on top of it, as well as just being a very decent sort of boss monster. Because this card itself, it's really sticky, as if your opponent wants to remove it, there's a big price to pay. If this card is Destroy a Battle and sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy that target. Before resolving an opponent's or monster's effect that targets this face-up card, you can look at your opponent's hand and discard 1 card from their hand. So this card is really goddamn annoying for your opponent to remove, as a decent stat line, and the best part about it is, like I said, it gets Orcust out of your hand, to then go into your full Orcust combo, and makes this deck a hell of a lot less bricky. Other than that, there isn't really any sort of major new changes to the deck list, other than the fact that of course we've swapped Mermaid out for your copy of Babel, which isn't really that big of a change considering there's been so many deck lists pre-ban lists that were already playing Babel and were already considered really top tier and winning tournament deck lists. So yeah, Babel swap out for the Mermaid doesn't really matter too much. It's still going to be a fantastic card for the deck list, and you guys already know what this card does already. Something else you guys might not have seen before is we're also playing Decode Talker. This card is a must in the Babel variants of this deck list. As you'll see from a bunch of the replays, you can really easily, quite often set this card up, depending on your starting hand. If you draw just complete gas and draw the nuts starting hand, you'll end with this thing on the field, with something below it to protect it, end with a copy of this card in graveyard, end with something like a Harp in the graveyard to be able to summon it back, and have some back row set with your field spell. And because you have this thing on the field, with something pointing to its arrow, you're immune to Cosmic Cyclone, which is one of this deck list's biggest counters, because obviously, Cosmic Cyclone on your field spell, all of a sudden, well, yeah, you just can't use any of your graveyard effects, so it's completely dead of a card. So you need this card in the deck list, and you'll see it very often during the gameplay. Alright, so as you can see, I had a very decent win rate with this deck list. In fact, my entire match history is basically only wins, with the only loss on here being a game that I admittedly kind of threw very hard by sending the wrong monster to the graveyard on turn 1, and then not leaving a monster on the field for a draw 2 on my turn. Just some really dumb stuff that if you're a really good player with this deck list, you're probably going to climb it rather quickly with some absurd win rate. I did play a lot more games than just this 10 though, so I had some losses and some wins down here. But anyway, let's actually get into the actual games now, the replays. Alright, so I recorded these like 7 or 8 hours ago or something, so I don't quite remember which ones are which, but hopefully I'll jog my memory by going through them. Alright, this guy's name's Stardust, so very fittingly was playing Yuso. Yeah, Orcust is by far not dead. It is a very, very good deck list. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do, use our Machina Fortress to discard an Orchestra hand to put itself on the field. Then we use the 2 monsters on field to go into your Automaton. This deck is still basically just 2 monsters on field equal Orcust combo. Alright, shuffle them back in, grabbing of course my Return. So the choice is either you grab Return or you grab Babel. Generally you grab Babel if you have back row already. If you have no back row, it's probably better to try to draw some cards to hopefully hit some. Alright. Unfortunately we didn't hit any, so we have to go for the build a wall strat and just hope we don't die. Alright, 3 effects, getting a bunch of life points, which is another reason by the way we're using this skill. Honestly, there isn't really any good skills for this particular deck list because we don't play things like Cosmic Cyclone, so we don't have the minus 1000 life points for the shuffling skill on Bandit Keith or anything like that. So I'm just playing the gain a billion life points, so if something happens to your Babel, if something happens to your back row, you're not completely doomed and hopefully you can survive the turn. Alright, Jump Converter, giving his dude back, going to a Stardust Dragon. Oh yeah, I remember what this guy did now. This guy was playing the OG version of this skill. Not going for anything spicy, he was just going for the flat out big dude that can attack a billion times. Alright, Shooting Star Robe, which I think hit like 4 off the top. This skill only places 3, so he also got an extra one. I think this skill only places 3. Been a while since I've seen this animation. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, only hit 4 on that. Wait, is this guy a tuner as well? He's not right. Oh, he is a tuner, so he hit 5. Jeez. That's fine, because we built a massive wall. Alright, turn passes back. I can now summon out my fortress. Cycle sending to the graveyard. These two are going to link off into an Automaton. Harp can now bring back my removal. I think his back row is just all like Cosmic Cyclones and back row removal, so it's a good thing I didn't actually go for any back row, or didn't draw into any. Just built a wall instead. Yeah, he's gone. Alright, on to replay number 2. That's Duel Master K. I assume this guy was playing Harpy. I don't know why else he'd be playing this character. Alright. Once again, summon Machina by sending a bunch of cards to graveyard. Sending my Wonder Wand. Wonder Wand summoning back the copy of Knightmare. Those are 2 monsters, can bring out Automaton. Horror, summoning out my dude. Automaton gonna go for a draw here once again, because I didn't hit any back row. Hitting 1 Chalice, which it's alright. Not the greatest starting board though, obviously, because it means we can't go into... We can't really realistically go into any other removal. The Fuma, we're just going to negate that. He has Lance for this. I don't even know if this is the correct play, because he has the swapping thing anyway. He just swapped this out, but I don't know where else I'd use the Chalice, so I just used it there. Alright, 2 monsters, going for a Harpy Lady. Yeah, I don't think this deck has any chance of beating me from here, because even if he removes all my stuff, I forgot to gain life points with my skill, by the way. You have to break through this big board, and you never want to try to beat over this, because if you beat over this, it will literally remove a monster on your field, so this card is really annoying to deal with. And if he targets it, he loses a card in hand. Cymbal, of course, going to revive back. This is going to bring out an Evening Star. Sending to the graveyard. Knightmare, giving a bit of attack. Sending to graveyard. Normal summoning. Sending my Machina to grave. And there's not much else in the deck to send. Alright. That's another important thing to know about this card, by the way. It can actually send your Machinas to the graveyard, and you'll see plenty of that during some of the other replays, where it actually kind of matters. Because if you already have all the stuff you want in hand, you just want to discard it, you can just send your Machina to the graveyard and discard from your hand and just summon it back from the field, summon back to the field, without, yeah, just getting, empty some of the stuff out of your hand really goddamn easily. Alright, searching for Babel, just in case he somehow survives this turn. I think I kind of dicked around a bit here. Knightmare Unicorn, gonna shuffle it back into the deck. 1-1, reviving back, and that's just lethal on field. Alright. So not a whole lot of Babel gameplay yet, but don't worry, there are a couple of Babel replays in here. Alright, up against Bandit Keith himself. 5-game win streak. Alright, I try to get a lot of replays showing off this card because it's kind of a new addition to the deck, but yeah. Alright, very good hand this time because we actually have some disruption, so now we can actually search for Babel. 1-1 bringing back. These two going into your Automaton. Harp summoning a dude to the field. Automaton shuffling back in. Summoning out, or grabbing hold of Babel first, sorry. Skeleton summoning to the field. Going into our Evening Star. Attaching below, using the 3 monsters on field, making sure to keep the one in the middle. Let's go with a copy of our Decode Talker. Decode Talker is actually so sick in this deck list. I've never really paid attention to it until post-Banlist, but this card is awesome. Because basically, this deck only has like a couple of weaknesses, the main one being your opponent could just Cosmic Cyclone this and you're kind of just screwed, you haven't really got any way to play the game. But now, it's completely protected. If he tries to Cosmic this, I just negate it. If he tries to Cosmic this, I can just negate it. And now I have my Cymbal in the graveyard and I have a copy of Dingirsu to summon back to the field. Getting a bunch of life points. Yeah, tries to Cosmic, we can just negate that. I did misplay here, I sent the Knightmare to then send a copy of the wrong card to the graveyard. Yeah, I sent this card to the graveyard, this is the wrong one, because I actually had no Orc. I thought I had an Orcust left in deck, but apparently I didn't. So I should have sent the World Legacy card that could have revived this dude back. Because if I could revive it back, I can place it back in the exact same zone, and I'd have another negate for another targeting effect. Not that it matters too much, because my opponent could chain a Cosmic here, and it wouldn't really, yeah, I couldn't actually stop that. But yeah, I could have had another negate active right now. Alright. So I didn't want to use my Harp, because obviously Harp's being saved for the Dingirsu. Yeah, he just concedes automatically, so I just wanted to show that interaction. Alright, so we're up to this one. I think both these last two replays also summon the guy, if I remember correctly. These are some absolutely crazy hands. Oh, this was funny. This guy was playing Amazonas. And look at his win streak. Huh? 7-game win streak with Amazonas? Though he was playing Orcust as well, but still, what the? 20 card Orcust Amazonas? What is going on there? Anyway, sending my Horror. Horror being banished, bringing out your skeleton. Don't want to summon out any Nightmares because he's got double in hand. Because I think I only play double and they're both in hand. Alright, getting my return. Admittedly, I actually probably could have grabbed a, could have used my Recycler to send my Machina and actually gotten rid of the cards in hand and used them that way. It might have been better. It's fine, I'm just going to draw some cards, hit absolutely nothing, as per usual. Maybe I didn't go for it here. Must be the next draw I went for it. I love how 3 of these replays I actually showed having fairly bricky hands where I didn't draw any back row, which by the way, it should not happen in this deck list. You've got a draw 2 in a deck where you've got 5 lots of back row, you should be hitting back row. So, bit unlucky I would say. Yeah, because opening hand with 5 is already about like a, what, 70-ish? Or something like that? It's closer to 80 going second. Alright, swings in, plenty of back row. So first thing we're going to do is go Knightmare Phoenix, get rid of some of it. Alright, now I think I send him back and I do. So important thing to note with this card is that you can't special summon it after you've used an Orcust effect, because it can't, because Orcust locks you into dark, this thing isn't a dark, so keep that in mind. This thing you want to use its effects before, or special summon it before you go into any of your Orcust plays. Cymbal Skeleton coming back, this removes another of the back row. Now we're going to copy into Knightmare Unicorn to get rid of another lot of the back row. Just in case he was one of those Wall of D players, I was kind of scared of back row. Alright, Wonder Wand summoning back. This now means I can go into a Link 2, giving me my Babel. And finally going into my Link 3, so I have Protection, and of course I have my Dingirsu in Graveyard as follow-up for extra removal during his turn, since I don't plan to kill him this turn. Princess into Onslaught, we're gonna remove the, remove the Phoenix. Gonna of course remove this because he's probably planning to go into a couple of his Mermaid. I've also got a negate here, so he wasn't even willing to target the Babel. Or I want to keep a card in hand, either one. Alright, as soon as the turn passes back, we're not taking any chances on this. We're going to remove it before we do anything. So going to our Orchestrator, just so we can put the dude in Graveyard. And he's gone. Alright. Final replay, I believe. Alright. I can't believe in none of these replays I actually showed the summoning of that Link 3 as removal, because a lot of them I actually did do that. My turn 1 setup was that guy. But I guess those are some of the earlier replays before I started recording. So it did take a while to get a deck list I actually really liked, with like proper ratios and stuff. I'm still not completely convinced on Chalice, but I feel like if you don't play this card and you come across a single Speed Droid or a single Pendulum player and they just set up those basically unbeatable turn 1 boards, you need stuff like this, especially against Dweller. Like, you cannot play through Dweller without this thing. So, still not sure on it though. You could play Warning Points, which makes your turn 1 way better versus Pendulum, of course. But I don't think this deck's turn 1 is particularly bad, so it's kind of a toss-up, I'm not really sure yet. Alright, very bricky hands, but for some reason he goes to battle phase and twice tries to swing in, so I'm going to Book and Moon that, meaning he can't use this effect because it's a main phase only effect, so safe to book it. Draw up a couple of cards. For some reason he shows us what the one back row is, rather nice of him. Go into my Automaton. Horror summoning out to the field. Alright. 1/1 summoning back the Horror. Alright, grabbing out my Babel. Once again, going through my Link 3, just in case there's some sort of targeting back row. I should have shown that animation, my bad. Alright, some back so I can make my removal, of course. He tries to Lance. Now, if this was a Book of Moon, some sort of Karma card, or just some sort of targeting effect, or whatever, the Compulse, I could have negated it here, which is why, of course, we went for the Decode Talker, because I could just negate this thing, send this thing to the graveyard at any point, and negate it. 3 effects, and he is dead on field. Oh no, he had Grit, sorry. Yeah, forgot this guy had... forgot during the game, and I forgot now that this guy was playing Grit. But it's fine, what's he gonna do, realistically? Holiday summons back, summons a monster, goes to battle phase, of course expecting to be able to boost using the cards in hand. Before it reaches the damage step, I'm going to use my Chalice negating this thing, so when it does reach the damage step, he's already locked into an attack, so he's very, very dead, because he can no longer boost this thing. And he's gone. Alright. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's replays. Hope you guys enjoyed them. If you didn't, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I should have another video tomorrow on Trickstar, I believe, using the new skill. So if you want to see that, remember to subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, hope to see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.